Welcome, welcome everybody. This evening is the first of Hummingbird Bridge Soulful Conversations Connections, and we've got a gorgeous first guest who's called Snow, Lukka. And I'll just tell you a little bit about her, and she can correct me if I'm wrong. But Snow bridges three cultures: Russian, Ukrainian, and Finnish. She was born in the Soviet Union in Leningrad, which then became St. Petersburg. And she's lived a life of continuous changes. And she's courageous. She's a courageous woman. She's let go of so much material goods. She's shifted from 2-3 different countries, settling in the UK once she had finished her linguistics degree. So that's how clever she is. And she has learned a new language. She's left her family and her friends behind. She's a laughter yoga ambassador in the UK, and she's been running corporate, charity, and one-to-one work since 2014. She's a qualified facilitator in yoga laughter. And I have to turn over because there's so much here. I've kept a little note. She's qualified in Qigong, women's yoga, fitness, dynamic, meditations, temple dance. And she works with women primarily, empowering them to be the best they can. And she also works with couples, helping them in their relationships with tantric work. So Snow, now you have led an extraordinary life of so many changes and challenges. And you have got an amazing array of family connections, and particularly right now with all the upheaval that we have going on in the world. And once you spent time working with Russian entrepreneurs, is that right? Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about that, how that works, and how you manage to keep your soul afloat in times of change and challenge.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody who will be rewatching. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for this invitation, and it's an honor to be here, to be a first guest as well, and to be considered for these soulful conversations. It's been a very challenging time, I must admit. Since February, it's been very challenging for everybody in the world, but especially for people who are connected to these cultures. And in my case, my father comes from Finnish line. He's Finnish, and my mother, she's half Russian, half Ukrainian. And we do have family in all of these countries. So I can say that although it is quite difficult and challenging to process all that is happening and to stay centered in your vision of maintaining the peace internally, so you can then share it with the world and your immediate environment. I know that it's far harder for those people who had to flee, who had to completely change their lifestyle in the matter of seconds without any opportunity for preparation. And there's so many people who are affected and don't even know what they will be doing tomorrow, that when I reflect on this, you know, I sort of really find strength in this, as I really feel blessed to have other comforts that can actually support me in providing support and peace to people who are really in the middle of these situations. And in the last few months, I've been involved in connecting people who feel triggered by the events, who live in different parts of Eastern Europe, because what's happening, the conflict is not just between Russia and Ukraine. All the countries who were previously part of Soviet Union, they inevitably feel affected, as there is a big percentage of Russian speakers in these countries. And there is a big wave of hate crime has been going against Russian-speaking populations in different countries. So these people who feel threatened, or who feel, the old wounds are coming up, they've been reaching out, asking for help, and I've been involved in connecting these people and sort of supplying with the information on daily meditations that are happening for free, that are creating field of support for these people. So it's still a process. It's comes in waves, even for me emotionally. I just spoke today with my grandmother who lives in Russia and whom I haven't had an opportunity to see since 2020 because of the last COVID events and what's happening now. And, the person who lives in the midst of this situation, she is the one who's cheering me on and saying, darling, remember, everything that I taught you about life, it is like that. You only live once, and you really need to focus on yourself. Don't pay attention to how the world is trying to dictate to you, you must live. Listen to your heart. This is the most precious tool that you have. So she lives alone. She hasn't got anyone in her environment. Most of your friends already passed away. And yet, she is internally connected to this really inner strength and support that she is getting from the land. I know for sure that she's getting a lot of help from the land and from the elements. And this is just a very archaic knowledge that maybe wasn't passed to us by our mothers and grandmothers, but people still carry this wisdom.
Yes, very wise woman.
Very wise woman. And just briefly to answer the second part of the question, my cooperation with Russian entrepreneurs, unfortunately, is now on hold because of the current situation. But what's happened during the lockdown, I've had a really strong sort of inspiration to reach out to my Slavic roots. And I've initiated the project where I've reached out to 4 spiritual women who are offering different wellness modalities. And I had a vision, it was like a download, that it would be a really interesting project for 5 of us to come together and create a private club where each month we would offer different tools to people, to women, specifically women. It was aimed at women to go through this ascension process that we are all witnessing now, and to be able to really complement each other, with the tool set that we have. And it was a really wonderful project. I really feel that more and more I'm inspired to collaborate because I really feel how much more goodness is then offered and is streaming through these multiplied forces. And that's exactly what's been prophesized for the golden age, 1 + 1 multiplied, and this progression just creates magic.
What is
So,
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because it's really interesting. I mean, everything you say is joyous to my ears. What happened with these wonderful 5 women that you're talking about? Are you not in connection with? You're not in contact with them anymore? Are you unable to keep that going? How is that? Going to move forward, or has it sort of hit a wall at the moment?
Quite the contrary. As the event started unfolding, I've organized a Zoom meeting for all of us. And because all of them, although they're in Russia, but they live in different cities. And I've asked, what they were feeling, how it was for them, what was triggering them, what was coming up for them and scaring them. So we talked about it and we cried together on the Zoom call. And then I offered them a really brilliant meditation that from the grandmother's work, how if we really see the tree as a symbol of tree of life, and that the roots connecting through other routes to the mycelium, and you can reach out to this really magnificent network of communication to any part of the world. So I shared with them this wonderful tool, and I've asked each of them to come to the nearest tree that is calling them next to their home, stand to the tree and communicate to the tree and ask the tree to connect to all of us. And each of them reported that they really felt this connection, and it now works as this anchor for them. Whenever they feel depleted, they go to the tree and they feel that 5 of us are connected. So there many restrictions came, into Russia, with many social networks being banned now, and so people, if they are not really using VPN, they cannot really access YouTube, Instagram. So for many people, a lot of communication has disappeared suddenly. And there are local social media resources, but still, we're talking about the wider web. So
can you still Zoom? Can
you can Zoom. They can Zoom if they use a VPN. Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, my network is actually growing with this support now in these current times, and it really feels like past year, although it was quite distressful because of the COVID restrictions, but still, it gave us a really great foundation, and I feel like life was preparing me for this, and I still don't know how it will unfold, but I feel, for many years, I've been in the UK now for 20 years, I actually totally didn't follow what's been happening in Russia. I don't really know how it's happened. And only 3 years ago, funnily enough, when I went to Bali on my tantric teachers course, I met a woman from St. Petersburg that started sharing with me about all this wonderful.
No such thing as coincidence, eh?
Exactly. And she inspired me. And I was like, how is it possible that I'm living in a different country and I built my life here and I totally neglected the sort of progress of all the spiritual and wellness things happening in the country where I was born. So that's how I started reaching out to people. I started researching, and I'm absolutely amazed. I'm so confident that what's happening now in Russia and Ukraine have absolutely wonderful masters who can anchor up the most amazing, beautiful, peaceful love energy in this land. They're truly amazing tribe of people who are prepared for these times.
And you have prepared yourself too, because you're I mean, I am in awe at the fact that you just got rid of all of your material goods. I mean, talk about walking over the Hummingbird Bridge, leaving material goods behind and connecting with your spiritual aspect. You left the UK in order to go get married and go to Spain, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
That's pretty radical in anybody's book, but not for you, because you have shifted and changed and lived so many lives almost before you went away. And how did that feel? Had you never ridden a bike before? Is that right? That you just took yourself on a bike over? Yes. So there you are. My goodness me, another thing that you just did because you needed to do it. And then you went to Spain, and then you came back. That's right. To what?
To nothing.
Yes.
I said goodbye to everything. I was really for the listeners, just to clarify, I left UK on the 1st of June a year ago, thinking that I was moving to Spain. So I had a goodbye party, which Elizabeth attended. And I really got rid of all the belongings, and me and my husband-to-be, we took our bicycles and 1 tent, 2 sleeping bags, a couple of t-shirts to be shared between 2 of us, and off we went. I must say I was a bit naive, thinking that, it was much easier to integrate and just sort of find your way in a new country. And I just really felt I was really trustworthy, to the spirit, thinking that, I will be guided. But a very good lesson here, it's about not forgetting that as much as you follow the guidance, you still are very much fixed in the material world, and you cannot bypass by thinking that, spiritually you can solve some things. You live here and now in the physical world, and the actionable doable actions that are expected from us, and we can't bypass them. So it was a very good lesson for me how to integrate both of these worlds.
Mm-hmm.
The most of the issue was that following the Brexit, I didn't realize I have less rights now with my British citizenship in Europe. And so, yeah, I think this plan is probably a bit on the hold button, but we'll see how it will unfold. So I had to come back in September to nothing and start all over again. And it was a very good lesson. I feel in any stage in our life, we can start again. And I think one of the biggest fears that we collectively have is we are getting easily attached to comfort of the relationship, comfort of being in the neighborhood, having everything familiar. So as much whenever I feel that I feel stagnation from this sensation, I start this conversation with me, trying to find out where is it that I betray myself, that I start to feel stagnation, because I truly feel we're not here to feel that energy. It's all about expansion. And yes, there are stages where we feel just flat because we need to integrate the previous experience, but before we go high again, ascension process, slowly. So there are moments where we just rest and don't do anything, we integrate until we receive another nudge and another guidance to do something else. So yes, I'm just really trained myself to carefully listen whenever this information comes, and I follow without allowing myself not to be drowned in fear that, oh my God, I don't know what awaits me there and how can I start again. I know this is what expected from me. I just feel it, and I just really think it's a very good practice for all of us, not to be attached and to be trained.
I can say to all of you who are listening now and those who are listening to the replay that this lady here can sell ice to Eskimos. The talent that you have. I spent some time with her at the grandmother's work, which perhaps you'd like to just add a little bit about what that is, because I don't think people who are listening may know about it. And I was jaw dropped because Snow was able to sell what we had, which was beautiful items that are made by Claudie. Do you remember Claudie? Gorgeous, beautiful plate covers and so many wonderful things, books, and Snow just cleared the table. People they were drawn towards you, and actually that I think is one of your gifts, is that a lot of people are naturally drawn to you. So though you say you have let go of everything and now you're just learning to trust, I don't think you realize quite how you shine when you're with other people, and what we see you doing in a practical way, in a grounded way as well. So I'm not surprised that you've been able to be successful coming back to the UK and starting again.
Well, thank you for this feedback. Yes, it's a very interesting aspect of my personality. I love selling. It gives me a buzz, but it's very important for me to sell something that I love. So it has to be something, it can either be connected with food, healthy food, be something beautiful and pretty, but being ethically made, handmade, and something for the home. Any of this, it's my heaven, I will go and sell all of it. It's all about interaction, Elizabeth, because when you have an opportunity to be physically somewhere where people come and they look for the goods, it's a wonderful opportunity to go into deeper conversations, not just related to the goods you're selling. And it's just a really great opportunity to go deeper into the people and have these connections. It just really inspires me for some reason. I was probably a merchant of some sort in my previous life.
I know you remember telling me a story about when you were little and you were selling apples, that you do you recall that? Yes. And I think sort of leading on from that, perhaps you just like to open the book, so to speak, to tell people what because that's how we connected, what the grandmothers are about. And they're not physical grandmothers, they are actually energetic grandmothers that care for us. So
Yes, so this is how me and Elizabeth primarily connected through this connection. And I'll probably share something that you don't even know about our connection. So Elizabeth was the first person who I've trusted to attend my first spiritual circle. And that happened in 2014. Up until that time, I was studying by myself, and I never had courage to go and attend any circles, any events, because I always sort of had doubts that, oh, it probably not too deep or too new agey, and I'm not going to enjoy, and people will be weird. But then I came across the work of the grandmothers, and the work of the grandmothers, it's all about honoring the return of the mother, the divine feminine energies that so many of us are feeling now, because they've been really amplified in the last few years globally. Every single country, more and more women are waking, and the men as well, to the realization that the divine feminine lives in us, in men and women, and that without honoring this energy, we cannot bring balance into our earth.
No.
So there is a beautiful soul living in California, America, Sharon McLean, who had a vision of this, of the spirit who took a form of the grandmothers that appeared in international clothes, and they had different appearance representing different cultures. And they started giving her a lot of information about the feminine principle and how feminine and masculine cooperate, and how now is really the time for the women to rise up and to connect to the yin within. So the yin principle can bring the healing aspect and harmony finally, as it was centuries and centuries ago. And so that golden age can finally be offered to us as it was prophesized. And this is exactly what we're witnessing now. So the last few years were dedicated to spreading this work, and Elizabeth was the first person who held space for me. And truthfully, it's because of me attending her circles, I started to have confidence and ability, and started receiving guidance that I was also capable to do this. And for the last 7 years, I've been facilitating my own circles, not just in UK, also international. I'm running international retreats. This work is anchoring me and giving me wonderful tools how to be here now in not the easy times that we are facing, but yet carrying the ancient wisdom codes, but applying them to the current modern times.
Being grounded.
Being grounded.
Practical. Yeah.
Being practical, but also going with these quantum leaps that are happening now. You know, the speed is really,
we have to, as you say, be grounded, because it's a bit like plugging ourselves into the national grid. If we haven't done the work before, we need to step up and, as you say, connect with others and do the work. So it's been an absolute joy to speak to you, Snow, and listen to what you have to say. I just adore hearing what you have to say. It's just so wonderful. What I would like to say is that you are doing something for what we call Albanathan, which is some solstice. Would you like to tell us a little about that?
Yeah. So all my public events were on hold for a while, and I really wanted to feel when there will be a readiness, you know, in the community to feel safe, to be able to meet again. And I'm really inspired to spend as much time as possible outdoors rather than, you know, being somewhere indoors in the hall. And especially with the season coming up now, I received a download to offer an event that would help people to reconnect to the memory of how it is to be in the community, because a lot of us have mentally suffered in the last 2 years, and we have to relearn the basic social skills. And this summer solstice event is happening this coming Saturday in London, in a very tranquil place, North London, N22. Very beautiful, luxurious place with a holistic chef on site cooking a vegan lunch for us. And my intention is to invite both men and women, everybody is welcome, and to start with a sharing circle where we can really tune in into the sadness and grief that resides in the body following the last 2 years. And then we will connect to the nature and the elements and ask the nature to support us in releasing this overwhelm. And we will be going into Qigong, gentle Qigong process to really reset the nervous system. And it will be a very slow, beautiful session where no experience is needed at all. Then we will break out for another sharing circles in the pairs for deeper connection with each other. And then we'll have a lunch. And after lunch, I would like to remind everybody about the importance of not being too serious and allowing ourselves to play. And here I will be offering some techniques from laughter yoga and different play modalities, because truthfully, when we go through a series of very difficult events and stressful situations, we forget about how important it is to be light in our body and light in our approach to life. And so this is quite a deep work that is weaved into the summer solstice event. However,
as adults, we get to play.
It is meant to be lightful and nourishing and connecting to each other.
It sounds wonderful. And that's on the 18th?
This is coming Saturday, yes, 18th.
And I believe you had an offer for people who are listening, and also who are those of us who are going to be coming back on the replay. So hopefully they will be able to attend as well. So you've got a link, haven't you? And I'll have to speak to my wing woman angel, Stephanie, who's in the background somewhere, making sure that we can still see each other and it's all working, to put the link in somewhere for you, so that anybody's interested in attending, and I'm sure lots of people will be, because it sounds tremendous. And I'm sad that I can't attend myself, because I will be elsewhere on that day, which is a shame. But the next time I'll be there. So there's that, you have a link, and we'll find a way of putting that link on the Facebook page and in Instagram and somewhere else. I'm sure Stephanie's jumping up and down saying, yes, I know what to do, I know what to do. And she knows that my head doesn't have that tech, shall we say, tech space. As it was, you had to wait for me, I know, I'm sorry.
No worries, okay.
Right. Anyway, so Snow, when you've done your event on the 18th, what next? I'm thrilled to listen to what your plans are.
Busy plans. I am working currently on translating one of the grandmother's books into a Russian language.
So it is fantastic.
So it is available for Russian community, and on my to-do list is to launch a Russian page on Instagram about this work to support Russian community, those who have access to these tools. And
how will that work? How will you do that on Zoom? How will that work for you?
No, the idea is to load all the official videos that Sharon has on her netoflight.org website. I've already translated the videos onto Russian language, so anyone who goes onto netoflight.org can already see Russian subtitles.
Wow!
On all the basic videos. And
I remember so long ago we had a gathering in the UK, and that's where I saw Snow's amazing talent to sell wonderful things that she felt connected with her and other people. She has a great sense of integrity, and at that point I remember somebody saying to you, might have even been me, you should translate. Oh, no, she said, she's standing back. So I'm just delighted to hear that you've done all of that, and the videos as well. That's extraordinary. Must have taken a lot of effort and time.
It takes a lot of time because I have to think carefully about how the words translate into the Russian, so they
Yeah.
carry their exact essence. But it gives me a lot of joy to do so.
And it's well needed, so needed.
Yes, I feel like, yeah, that's now I see why I started to have interest in Russia again. 3 years ago, when I had this meeting with a Russian woman in Bali, everything was preparing me for this, because I feel this is the most important now that needs to be done. And the other projects that I'm working on, because I am working a lot with one-to-one, helping women with different really inquiries, whatever issues. There are so many layers to our, spiritual, physical, and mental well-being. And being a qualified dance and yoga teacher, I can address physical issues, and I'm a sacred sexuality facilitator, so I can also tap into deeper issues that are connected to our creativity, sexuality, manifestation, and supporting women in all of this. I just feel, being a woman is a very rich experience, and no matter how much you learn, and no matter how many wise women you have in your life, it's still not enough to understand this deep complexity, of our being. But it's so utterly fascinating. So I think it will be a forever non-stopping process for me.
And what, just to sort of wrap up here, this extraordinary time we've had together, and thank you so much for sharing so much of your wisdom. What are you doing? You mentioned something about you're creating a product. I'm not quite sure. It was something to do with your work that you're doing outside the translating. Are you able to tell us about that, or is that still under wraps?
No, I can share, because I think it's good for people to hear that it's absolutely possible to have different interests and hobbies and develop them. Because for a very long time I thought that, I'm just a yoga teacher, or I'm just a wellness coach. And then once I started allowing myself to look into different parts of me that were like knocking and saying, hello, look at me. I want you to learn something to do with the hands and do something here and there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm totally unskillful here, but I have an interest. So I'm allowing myself to not be perfect and to be curious. So there are actually 2 projects started to feel just recently inspiration to pursue them. One of them, I'm working with a really wonderful man. He is 9 years younger than me, and we have this combined vision to create ethical projects for camping, for people who go on camping, so they can use some really nice and organic moisturizer, candle repellent from the mosquitoes. There's some really great ideas behind it, because the idea behind it is to also start creating events for community around the campfire. And the name that we want to give to our brand, I will share secretly. Please don't steal our idea. Campfire.
No. Campfire. Lovely. No. You must actually get that registered.
Yes. But the idea is still in progress. But the idea is to offer these products and bring community to sit around the campfire and share the stories and experiences. And another very personal project, I started to have visions last year to start making really eccentric headpieces. Headpieces.
Headpieces.
Whatever it is, like a hat, fascinating, yes, but really out there, not normal pieces, not something you would use for every day. And this is really challenging for me, because I don't sew and I don't need, but I'm learning, and I just, whatever I see, I've created already 9 pieces, and I'm slowly preparing my first collection that I want to
Wow.
attempt to offer to the public in a local art fair.
Mhm. Well, I want to see
Later
them.
this
You
summer.
know, I'm quite out there, as you know. So yeah, I love hats. I love things off my head. So yes, definitely. I want to see those. I want to buy one. So I know it'll be gorgeous. Well, Snow, it's been an absolute treat. And I thank you very much for taking the time and sharing your enthusiasm, your wisdom. And I've written something down which was just perfect. Not to be perfect and to be curious. I think that's a mantra that we should all have, myself particularly. So is there anything else that you would like to add before we say goodbye about your weekend? And I think there was some offer you were putting out for anybody who is listening now and who connects to the link that you have for this weekend.
Yes, so there is a promo code for anyone who would like to attend my summer solstice day retreat. It's a day retreat. It's an event that is lasting 5 hours, so we don't have to rush. So really deepen into this communion with each other and allow the nature to support us. There is a promo code that allows you £15 off the ticket that will be mentioned with the link.
Yes, there's a link here. I can't say it because it doesn't make any sense for the people who are listening.
Yes.
But we'll definitely find a way of putting that in and sending it out.
The tickets are on sale until Friday morning because the chef needs to know how many people are coming to be able to provide supplies.
So we have today, Wednesday, Thursday, and is Friday the cutoff point, or is
Friday 10 o'clock in the morning? Friday
10 o'clock in the morning. So we need to put that on anything that we're putting out about today. So that's so generous of you. Thank you very much. And I know it's going to be amazing. And you know that I was at school not far from where you're holding this.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See?
Yes. Yeah. I lived in that part of the world. So yes, it's a
lovely area. Really, really beautiful.
Indeed it is. It is. It's a lovely part of the world. I won't go back to live there, but I have happy memories. Happy memories. And the code, the checkout promo code is Snow's Buddy. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, one word.
Yeah, Snow's Buddy. And well, Snow, thank you very much indeed. I'm honoured that you took the time out because I know you're a very busy lady. And I'm looking forward to seeing you very soon. If not on the 18th, then after that, because I think we've got, we're well due for a little bit of a ceremony and a drumming
and a party.
And you say, oh well, yeah, definitely a party. Yeah. Oh yes. We can't be too serious. We'll have a bit of drumming. We'll have the crystal bowls, and then we'll have gin and tonic. Right. So lots of love to you. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to briefly wish you all the best with the launch of the series, and I'm looking forward to also listening to the Soulful conversations with other wonderful people. I know you have such a great community of wise souls, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this blossoming, and all the best to your projects as well. Oh, thank you, my darling. Thank you. Lots of love. Bright blessings. Lots of love. Thank you.